Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your indulgence for letting me wave on the committee today. I know it's been a long day. I want to welcome our governors here today. Thank you. Governor Pritzker, on behalf of my constituents and myself, I have serious concerns about the current state of Illinois and the continued direction your administration is taking when it comes to sanctuary policies. And I know we've talked a lot about that today. And I want to be clear, your sweeping sanctuary policies are not just misguided in my view, I think they're dangerous. Your agenda puts ideology above public safety, ties the hands of law enforcement, and signals to violent, criminal, illegal immigrants that Illinois is a safe haven. Your administration has made the state of Illinois among the national outliers to defy federal law. And you've doubled down on policies like Illinois Way Forward Act, which is legislation you proposed and signed that prohibits local law enforcement from cooperating with ICE, even in cases involving violent criminals. And I think, hearing you today, I think you honestly believe that refusing to turn over convicted felons to federal authorities makes our community safer. And I'll tell you, Governor, it doesn't. And as a former federal and state prosecutor who's worked very closely with law enforcement, none of that makes us safer or makes law enforcement feel comfortable. Instead of working with federal law enforcement to remove dangerous individuals from our streets in Chicago and across Illinois, you're creating bureaucratic roadblocks and political cover. And in my view, that's not leadership, it's government malpractice. Illinois families are already struggling with the highest combined state and local tax burden in the country. And they should not be forced to subsidize over $2.5 billion in Illinois taxpayer money that's been spent on illegal immigrants over the last 4 years under your sanctuary policies in Illinois. I want to mention two specific cases, although I could talk about a lot more. A tragic case involving the family of George Levin, a 63-year-old man who was murdered by a pair of illegal immigrants who were arrested in Chicago in January. He was found bound with duct tape and his legs tied with an extension cord. The title of an article was "Two Migrant Men Beat Chicago Businessmen to Death, Left Him Bound, Gagged," prosecutors say, dated February 1st, 2025. Again, under your sanctuary policies in the state of Illinois. I'd like to submit that for the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection to order.
Second one is a case of two families, and I want to highlight Chloe Polzon and, of course, Catherine Abraham, two girls in their early 20s that were killed in a fatal hit and run by an illegal immigrant in Urbana, Illinois. And again, the title from that article, Glenview family seeks justice after migrant suspect kills daughter and friend in Urbana, hit and run. I'd like to submit that for the record.
Without objection to order.
And so, Governor, I guess a question for you. As you hear these stories, and there's many others, does it cause you to rethink your sanctuary city policies or regret some of the policies you've taken as it relates to sanctuary cities?
Thank you, Congressman. I'm glad to see you here. I know you were unwilling to meet with your constituents about the Medicaid cuts that you voted for. So answer
the question. I thought you might not answer the question whether reclaiming I'm going to reclaim my time because you did not answer the question, which I thought you would. When I asked, when you hear about victims that suffer violence because of illegal migrants in a sanctuary city state, you said no, it hasn't caused you to rethink. Reclaiming my time. Now, Governor Pritzker, you mentioned reclaiming my time. I have the time. I have the time.
All the federal government. You all have the ability to fix this.
Governor Pritzker, earlier.
Do your job. Do your job, Congressman.
Yeah, I would deflect too instead of answer those questions. Now, you said earlier, in a response to a question from Chairman Comer, that you have been critical and had been critical of President Biden and his border policies. And you cited a letter, October 2nd, 2023, that you authored. So I pulled the letter, and I was looking for this criticism of the Biden border policy. 3 pages, nothing in there. Now, I'm going to submit for the record so everybody can see it. October 2nd, 2023, letter from J.B. Pritzker to President Biden. Not one mention of being critical of the border.
Without objection to order.
Thank you. Now,
public statements on national programs about this.
It's not your time. Governor Pritzker, it was mentioned earlier, all these rosy statistics about Illinois, but I want to mention a couple that weren't mentioned. Illinois is the leader in outmigration of people leaving the state of Illinois. We've led, for the last 4 years, 5 years, people want to leave the state of Illinois. We lost a congressional seat, as you're well aware. We have the lowest population in the city of Chicago now than in 100 years. People continue to flee Illinois. We have the 5th highest unemployment rate in the country, the 2nd highest property tax rate in the country, the 5th highest illegal immigration population in the country, with over 500,000 illegal immigrants leaving in Illinois. None of that got mentioned before, but that's the reality. And to be honest with you, Governor Pritzker, I wish you didn't have to be here today as my governor. I really do. But unfortunately, because of your failed policies, you have spotlighted Illinois, and that truly is unfortunate, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back in our
Congressman,
last.
half of that is completely false and needs to be corrected, and I will if given the moment to speak. Our population is increasing. We have a higher population as a result of the census that was done in 2020. It was your Republican governor.
Governor, you don't have time to answer that.
You were part of those policies. We are turning the seat around.